One more time. We are live. Mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts. How we like our martial arts at the UFC Apex, but only after Fury Usyk is done. Whoa!
I don't even know what to do. Like, I feel like I should welcome everybody to BTL right now. What a time. What a time, everybody. Yes. I know all eyes are on Fury versus Usyk, and understandably so. But there is a UFC event tomorrow going on right around the same time. And there's your main event. A good one between Edson Barboza and the surging Lerone Murphy at 145 pounds. And then there's other fights happening, which we will discuss and talk with you about as we welcome you to the UFC Vegas 92 preview show here at MMAfight.com. I am Mike Heck. Joining me as always, or at least on these preview shows lately, and I'm very excited about this, my fellow New Englander, fellow Red Sox fan, and now back in the Northeast, José Youngs, joining us from beautiful New York City. How are we doing, Jose?
Life's a blissing. X-Men 97 is over, so now I can finally focus all of my attention on fighting, because that was the most important thing in my life for 10 weeks, but now I have to wait a year.
Yes. Yes, indeed you do. Yes, indeed you do, and it seems like we've been waiting a year for Lerone Murphy to get a big fight. And now he's going to get one against Edson Barboza. And Edson looked pretty damn good against Sodiq Yusuff, overcame some adversity, battled through it. It was one of the more entertaining fights inside the Apex in all of 2023 last year. Edson Barboza just proven he's a dog. Man is in tremendous shape, calling for a BMF title fight against Max Holloway, which kind of hard to argue that anybody would be. I don't think anybody would be upset if the UFC went ahead and booked that, but now he's got Lerone Murphy coming for him, and let's see if Edson Barboza could do it again. But look, this card ain't great. This is second fiddle to everything going on in Saudi Arabia and Fury versus Usyk, but this main event's pretty damn good, Jose, is it not?
Yeah, this is high-level martial arts at its finest, and I kind of feel bad for Edson Barboza. I think we talked about it on like a team meeting once, or like a editorial meeting, where it just feels like every time Edson Barboza gets a main event, there's a boxing match that is happening on the same day. Like, I'm pretty sure when he fought Giga Chikadze, that was Jake Paul Woodley 2 or maybe 1, I don't remember. And then when he fought Sodiq Yusuff, it was the same day as like that Tommy Fury, KSI, Dylan Dennis, Logan Paul. And now he gets another main event, and Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk is fighting. So if Edson Barboza gets a main event, you can almost guarantee there's going to be a high-level boxing match on the other side of the world. But this is a good fight. It's a high-level main event. Lerone Murphy, like you said, has put in the work, and I feel like he's finally getting the fight he deserves. It's a super tough fight, because it's usually when you fight Edson Barboza, even when you win, you don't really leave the same person because your body takes an absolute beating. Edson Barboza is kind of the definition of get or get got in like every aspect. Like, he can knock you out in a flash knockout highlight reel a la Terry Edom or Billy Quarantillo, or he can shut your body down with like a million bug bites like Dan Hooker. He can come back like Sodiq Yusuff, or he can get the brakes beaten off of him like Khabib Nurmagomedov, Giga Chikadze. He's rarely in a boring fight. He's always in an exciting fight. The Bryce Mitchell fight might have been not have been that great, but he just got kind of dominated by a high-level grappler. Either you look good beating Edson Barboza, or you look bad losing to Edson Barboza. So I don't know what side of the coin Lerone Murphy's going to come out looking like, but I think it's a good test. It's a good litmus test for a featherweight fight.
Yeah, I think it's incredible matchmaking. I've been waiting for Lerone Murphy to get at least an opportunity and a rank guy for quite some time. Talent's obviously there. Dude's got one hell of a story. I'm sure you guys.
Yeah, did you know he got shot? Did you know he got shot in the face? I don't think anyone's talked about it before.
No one's talked about it. No one's talked about the nickname The Miracle, and those two things do not go hand in hand at all, Jose. I mean, I don't think they go hand in hand. But so I was talking to somebody about this the other day at softball yesterday, 'cause someone brought this fight up, and I was kind of stunned that they actually knew this fight was happening. Mm-hmm. And they were like, Well, I feel like every time I know Lerone Murphy's on the roster and I get excited for him, it's just then I like 6 months later I forget he's on the roster, which is kind of funny. I kind of compared him to Anthony Hernandez because Fluffy just goes out and has these great performances and keeps stockpiling these wins, and just as his momentum is peaking, something weird happens and then we don't see him for a while because Murphy comes in, wins some fights, taps Makwan, and then he's out for like almost 2 years. Doesn't look great at 286. Gets a good win over Josh Kulabau, and it's been almost a year again since he's fought. So what does Lerone Murphy need to do? Is a win just enough here, or does he need to go out and just, I'm not going to say style on Edson Barboza, but just go out and just show he can go through hell, go through a war, and come out on the other side with the win over a grizzled vet, tough ass dude like Edson Barboza? What do you need to see from Lerone Murphy that'll make you make people realize this guy's a problem, and hopefully we can keep this momentum going downhill?
A win is obviously the most important thing. Winning solves everything. But I think what he needs to show is that he can keep up with Edson Barboza. Like, say this fight goes 25 minutes. I don't want, if he just gets 50-45 or 50-44 or whatever, or like it's most similar to the Dan Hooker fight where he just kind of gets outclassed, that's not great. But even if he loses and he shows that he can not only withstand the barrage of Edson Barboza, but put it on Edson Barboza as well, I think that's going to be really eye-opening because like Sadiq Youssef looked great, and then all of a sudden Edson Barboza he let Edson Barboza fight back, and then obviously Edson Barboza won that fight. And I think it actually won comeback of the year for UFC.com. So a win is most important, looking competitive against Edson Barboza, win or lose. And then after that, it's just activity. Availability is the best ability, as we always say. And like, yeah, he beat like the Josh Kulabau fight. I put a lot of stock into that win because I think Josh Kulabau is a fantastic fighter. But that was last July. So it's been almost a year. Before that, it was, like you said, didn't look great at UFC 286 in front of his hometown. I know that was kind of a last minute shuffle up because the Nathaniel Wood thing happened. And before that, it was like Makwan looked great, but that was 2 years between fights. And this is his first fight outside of Abu Dhabi or England in the UFC. I think his first, 3 or 4 fights, maybe 5 fights in the UFC were all in Abu Dhabi. And then he had a couple fights in London, and now he gets the Vegas card. So I'm curious how he fights, not in he's like when I interviewed him in his at a pre-fight or post-fight, I can't remember, media day. He said he likes fighting in Abu Dhabi because he had done it so often that he just has his routine. Like fighting in Abu Dhabi was like, I don't know, Brandon Allen fighting in the Apex. Like, it's just, he has his routine and you know what he's going to do. And then he goes to London and he doesn't get the Nathaniel Wood fight, but because it kind of shifted around a bit. So I just think it'll be interesting to see him fight. I know it's the Apex and it's Vegas, but it's not a crowd. It's not the T-Mobile. It's not the Sphere or whatever. But I would like to see how he looks when he's fighting, overseas, out of his element, not in his routine, different time zone, different weather, against an incredibly dangerous opponent. I want to see him keep up with the elite of the elite because, like, Edson Barboza, like, how long has he been in the UFC? 15 years, 12 years, something like that. I remember when Edson Barboza was the hot prospect, and then Jamie Varner derailed him for a hot minute. That's how long ago he's been. Jamie Varner retired in like 2014 or whatever, and I remember when he put a halt to the Edson Barboza hype train for a minute. So I just want to see Lerone Murphy keep up, out of his element, in front of a new crowd, in a new city, all that kind of stuff.
This will be Edson Barboza's 30th UFC fight.
Unreal.
It's freaking crazy. I feel like 100 looking at that number right there. 18-11 looking for win number 19 inside the octagon. Let's go to the betting odds, and then we're going to take a bunch of questions from the peeps here. There's so much going on. This card, let's be honest, I'm sure you guys will ask questions about things that we're looking at that are kind of under the radar, but Lerone Murphy, the favorite, Jose, minus 155, according to our friends at DraftKings. The comeback on Edson Barboza, plus 130. This seems eerily similar to how the betting odds looked before Edson Barboza stepped inside the octagon against Sadiq Youssef. Can Edson Barboza, the wily veteran, the 38-year-old gangster, get it done again, pull off another upset, or is it time for the miracle to make his rise up the divisional ranks?
It's tough, man, because, like, I feel like we've had the same conversation when Edson Barboza fought Shane Burgos. Like, Shane Burgos looked unbelievable, and then Edson Barboza literally turned him off, like punched him, and there was like that 5-second delay, and then his body just fell apart. Same thing as Dan Hooker. Like Dan Hooker was on that run at lightweight after jumping up from featherweight, and then they fought in Milwaukee, and City Kickboxing was just getting on the scene with Israel, kind of doing his thing, and Volkanovski was just still on the rise, and Dan Hooker, everyone was talking about like, oh, Dan Hooker's going to go in there and run through Edson Barboza and continue his rise. Edson Barboza beat the brakes off of him. That was a real uncomfortable fight, but then same thing, like Giga fought him, Bryce Mitchell fought him. The Paul Felder fight was a little weird. Justin Gaethje got back in the win. It was a little bit of an eye poke against Justin Gaethje, if I remember correctly, and then I think he beat Dan Ige, but that was just a really fun fight. Losing to a lot of big high level names, but beating a lot of high level names as well. Like, it is crazy. It's like obviously I saw the call out of Max Holloway. It's crazy they have never fought. Like that. I feel like they circled each other for so long, and I know Edson Barboza is a lightweight for so long, but since he dropped down to featherweight. Was his first fight at featherweight against Dan Ige? Was that the first one?
That was the first one.
So that was what, 20? Because that fight was in the empty arena, so 2020. So 4 years. It is wild. It is wild. We've never gotten Edson Barboza and Max Holloway. I would heavily favor Max Holloway in that fight, but it's like when Max Holloway was talking about fighting Korean Zombie, he's like, he's the only guy in my generation I haven't fought. And then I'm like, well, you haven't fought Edson Barboza. Not that Edson Barboza has ever been close to deserving a title shot or anything like that, but I would love that fight. It's just not going to happen right now. Max is probably going to fight for the championship next.
Does Edson get it done tomorrow, though?
I think so. I really do. I think Lerone Murphy is a fantastic fighter, but I think he's going to have flashes of brilliance because Edson Barboza can, start off a little slow, get clipped. If he gets Edson on the back foot quickly, like Giga did, just kind of broke his nose right away, and then Edson just kind of was looking through blood that entire time, I think that's his best path to victory. Hurt him early, put him on the back foot, have him his back against the fence circling. But if he gives Edson Barboza space in that octagon, I think it's going to be tough. Lerone Murphy's a big, strong boy. I think Edson Barboza gets it done. That Sadiq Youssef win, I tweeted like when Sadiq Youssef was on the verge of finishing Edson Barboza, I was like, Sadiq Youssef is very good at MMA. Like, he's about to knock out Edson Barboza, and then Edson Barboza pulled it out and pulled off the decision. I thought that was so impressive. So I'm going to pick Edson Barboza. I picked against him too because I picked Shane Burgos to beat him. I picked Dan Hooker to beat him. I picked Billy Q to beat him, and he's proven me wrong every time.
If I were betting on this fight, it's Edson Barboza for me. Getting plus money on him, I just feel like there's so much value there.
Yeah,
but just like a straight pick, I think I'm going Lerone Murphy, but I have like very little confidence in either side right now. I feel like if you're Lerone Murphy, you're not getting style points here. You just want to go out there and just put Edson Barboza on his back and just keep him there. I think that's honestly the best strategy he has. And I'm curious to see how long, if that's the strategy he chooses to implement, how long he could do that for. Can he do that for 25 minutes? Can he do it for 15? Can he do it enough to win 3 rounds? He cannot get into big striking exchanges with Edson Barboza because that is as good, as talented as he is on the feet. That's a recipe for disaster. But if he can get Edson Barboza down, put him on his back, I know he's not the same grappler Bryce Mitchell is. Not many are. But if he can do something similar, I think he wins this fight. I think he wins the decision. But it's going to be real interesting. Rounds 4 and 5 of that fight are going to get real weird and wild. But I'll go Lerone Murphy by decision, but I'm not really loving that too much. Khaos Williams back against Carlson Harris. The Rock's favorite fighter, Temba Garimbo, welcoming back Ramiz Brahimaj to the octagon. First time in over 2 years, I believe. Adrian Yanez is back for the first time in 2024. He takes on former flyweight Vinicius Salvador. And the main card opens with Luana Pinheiro versus Angela Hill, which I think Angela Hill is the only fighter on this card that is currently in the MMA Fighting Global Rankings. So there you go. Tom Nolan back. And there's some other fights as well. Let's bring Casey in. Let's bring in the peeps as well. Let's talk to the peeps. Let's see if there's some things going on here. Because, I mean, we're not trying to be haters here, but it doesn't truly matter what the UFC was putting on here. It's second fiddle to Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. So this is probably like the perfect lineup they could have put together on a day like that. Plus, no card next week, and then it's off to 302. So I don't think it's going to be like a terrible watch, but There's not a lot going on here.
Wait, what was this about? Barboza of Holloway? Or just a...
Edson Barboza Media Day says he wants to fight Max Holloway for the BMF title.
Oh, he's not. Oh, he's not.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, he's not.
But it would be. I love that fight though. Like selfishly, but like they're at two different parts of their career. Like Max Holloway is the like hottest fighter right now off that Justin Gaethje win.
Did Barboza ever break like top 5 in featherweight? He was in top 10.
Yeah, he was real close, and then Habib. Not a featherweight, a lightweight he did, but then Habib
featherweight. Yeah,
wrecked him. I just don't think he's been in featherweight long enough. There's only been a couple years, and he's had a couple hiccups against the top of the division.
Oh yeah,
he's just on his
Mitchell, Giga, Ige, and losing the first fight against Ige, which was really close. Yeah.
The Ige fight was really controversial. I'm pretty sure they they disputed that with the commission.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that fight. And Ige's like top 10ish. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's Barboza just never kind of. Yeah, he's just like I get wanting to fight, but yeah.
But he is. I would put Edson Barboza on that short list of bad motherfuckers though. Like that dude will fight anybody. Like he's fought guys that no one wants to fight. Like I know he got mauled by Habib, but who was volunteering to fight Habib back then? And Edson Barboza's like, I'll do it, and then got just run over.
Yeah, actually, someone asked about that.
He's so fun, man.
100%. If you put a list of the top 10 lightweights ever, Edson Barboza's fought a big chunk of them. Yeah. Like he's fought Tony, he's fought Pettis, he's fought Gilbert, he's fought Beneil, he's fought Habib, he's fought Gaethje, he's fought Cerrone, he's fought Danny Castillo when Danny Castillo was doing things back. He's fought Michael Johnson, he's fought Bobby Green. I know he's fought Evan Dunham, Felder twice. Yeah, that dude's resume is sneaky good.
It's wild. It's loaded.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of red on it too. But but he takes incredibly hard fights. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's a bad motherfucker.
And will this be his and this will be his 30th? Am I adding that right? His 30th walk, UFC walk tonight.
Yep.
Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Who just had 30 walks? Oh, Alex Caceres. Two feather. Yeah.
This dude, this dude's strength of schedule is so insane.
Oh, it's
friggin' ridiculous.
He made his UFC debut in 2010, and the main event was Rampage, Lyoto Machida, and the co-main event was BJ Penn, Matt Hughes. That was Matt Hughes' last fight, or second last fight, or whatever. But was that his last fight? I can't remember. No, second. Last
week, guys, we have an update. We have an update.
What's that?
The golfer?
A newcomer, Umar Sy, who has had like 3 different opponents for this card and just got a short notice replacement opponent in Tuco Tacos. He missed weight by 1.5 pounds for his UFC debut. Awesome.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
All right. Talk a little bit about the co-main, which I don't really.
Elizabeth, are we in for a snoozer or a sneaky fun fight with a Khaos Williams co-main in the world's most famous Apex? I like this fight.
Yeah, so do I. Khaos Williams, it's the annual Khaos Williams May fight. I think he fights once a year, every like beginning of May. I think he fought May like 5th or 6th, 2022, like May 6th, 2023, and now he's fighting like May 18th.
He's the Canelo of the UFC Apex. Yeah.
Yeah, 100. No, the two last fights were pay-per-views, 288, I think, and then I don't remember. But I know he fought on the Newark card last year, and I know he fought on the Phoenix card. That's right. I remember that now. But before that, he knocked. Like, here's the thing: the tiny cage very much benefits Khaos Williams because he throws like that fastball down the middle. Big cages aren't really his bag because Randy Brown pulled it off and Michelle Pereira pulled it off. He should win. That last fight wasn't that great in Newark.
No. You want a splitty, right?
I think so. I remember he knocked out Alex Morono in about 20 seconds in his debut. I think it was short notice. Yeah.
That was a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
So he hasn't.
And then it was the old style post-fight interview where like we set up the little trap. Yeah. We set up the mic stand for him, and like, Jonathan Martinez says nothing, but it's kind of endearing and adorable. Khaos Williams was the opposite. He said nothing. We were like, thanks, guy. Like, move along. Like we would ask a question, he'd be like, "No." Yeah, like it was nothing. And then he melted Abdul in his next fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a great fight. I think Khaos is gonna knock him out for the same reasons José suggested.
So.
Just small cage favors him, but we'll see if Carlson can get this to the mat. Then things will get pretty weird.
Yeah. So, but
he knocked out Miguel Baeza too, and that was back when. Go ahead.
No. I know some fans, some comments basically don't know. We kind of joked about the Lerone Murphy thing, not knowing like his story, but a lot of people don't know it, honestly. Like, because like he hasn't fought in a year.
Really?
Well, why would they know him? He hasn't fought in a year. He hasn't fought in the States.
I guess.
You know, we know because we're there.
I feel like if you're tuning into an Edson Barboza Lerone Murphy preview show on a Friday afternoon, you might know the Lerone Murphy story because every single media day, every single post-fight thing, every interview he does, it's brought up. He got shot in the face outside a convenience store or gas station or something back in the UK, and he spit the bullets out and then went to the hospital. Yeah, that's why he's called the Miracle, because he survived getting shot in the face.
Dude's he's a madman.
I know we know this. I'm just saying I still think it's hard for fans to keep up with this. I mean, really. I mean, but once you hear it once, you will remember it. Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every single interview he ever does, there's one person that's never interviewed him before, and they just have to bring it up, which is fine. I don't think he's over talking about it because it's a crazy thing to discuss. Yeah. But when you do it at media day and then you do it again post fight, that's when I'm like, all right, like let's move along. We've talked about
in the same week, yeah,
within days apart. I'm like, all right, we got this. He got shot in the face, guys. Just a heads up.
All right, super chats coming. First one coming from our good friend Achilles Jr.
I was hoping for a fire card for my birthday, and I got it. Apex Fight Night, FTW. Which fight are y'all looking forward to the most, guys, banger-wise?
Banger? I mean, the main out. Well, let's take out the main and co-main because those are the two best fights, I think. I don't know. The Worley Alves fight could be crazy versus Abus. Worley Alves is a get-or-get-got type of guy. I think Adrian Yanez could style on Vinicius. That feels like a fight to just show to get Adrian Yanez back in the win. Yanez to get back in the win column and look great. I think that could be like if he doesn't finish Vinicius, that could be like a 30-25 fight. Adrian Yanez is just, I think, leagues better than Vinicius. Angela Hill's always a fun scrap.
Yeah, I'm going for the only ranked fighter in the card. I'm going. To me, it's pretty easy. Angela Hill. Also, I'm interested in Yanez is coming back off a loss, right?
Like multiple losses, I think.
2 losses. Yeah. Okay. Knocked out twice last year.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, back-to-back TKOs.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So let's see if I guess Yanez and Hill. That's the two fights I'm most interested in, outside of the main, which
Worley Alves has been in the UFC for a long time as well. I think he was on that one of the tough Brazil seasons.
All right.
Has a win over Colby Covington. I know that.
Yeah. When we get that rematch.
Man.
All right.
I mean, there's not a Jesus. There's like not a lot.
I know. I kind of roasted that St. Louis card, but this is a big step down from that St. Louis card in terms of name power.
Like, I hate to say this, man. Like, and I just this is the worst card of the year. It's the worst card of the year.
So far.
Like, and I feel like it's so far. This is the worst. This is the worst. Yeah, I just there's no. I mean, we could end up seeing some bangers, but like on paper, outside of the top 2, nothing screams banger to me.
No,
I'll say a boost in Worley, like, and it's like chalk.
Ooh, look at everyone loves a boost. Everyone loves a boost.
No, that's a Worley Alves fight, I think.
You guys love
a boost is get or get got. Worley can be get or get got. So yeah, I think those two are just gonna kind of beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, I don't remember Luana Pinero's fights that much. I just don't remember.
She got head kicked by Amanda Hebos in her last fight. It was a spinning roundhouse kick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then before that, she beat Michelle Watterson, and she has like
That
The
DQ
Amanda-
win. That DQ win. That was weird.
I remember the Amanda Hebos fight because I think she was undefeated in the UFC. I love Michelle Watterson. Beating Michelle Watterson in 2023 is not the same as beating Michelle Watterson in like 2018, 2017, or when she was headlining fight nights.
Yeah.
That was a huge step up skill wise from Michelle Watterson to Amanda Hebos for her.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see if Pinheiro is legit. You can get past Angela Hill. All right. Thank you much.
Angela Hill should fight. I think Jessica Andrade said when we were interviewing, because remember we had this conversation about who should be the female BMF, and we thought it like Joanna Jessica Andrade was a good fight, and then I brought it up to Jessica Andrade's media day, and she was like, "Well, Joanna's retired," and she's like, "Well, Angela Hill, she's a fucking bad motherfucker. She'll fight anyone." I'm like, honestly, not a bad second spot to replace Joanna. Yeah, cool. Just down to clown against anyone.
Yep.
José Barboza, could Lerone Murphy be a top 10 contender with the win? Yes, of course he could.
That's what this fight's for, probably. Pretty much.
I would like him versus Cater would be a good fight if he gets through this.
Yeah, I like that one.
Or the loser, or the winner of, maybe not the winner because they might jump up high. The loser of Arnold Allen and Giga, because they would be. I think they'd sit at 10. So. They'd sit at 10, and I think the winner of that'll probably fight Yair or something like that, who's in the top 5.
Featherweight's fun, man. There's so many good fighters in this division.
Mitchell will probably fight, what's his name? Sean Woodson, hopefully.
It doesn't look like it's happening from
really
what I'm hearing. And I know Sean Woodson just did an interview. And Bryce, I believe, posted about it as well, saying like, hey, I said yes. We both said yes, but the UFC has a different direction they want to go. So.
Well, if Edson Barboza wins, because I don't want to do it. I think Lerone Murphy should fight in the UK, or if Edson Barboza wins, I would like to see him fight Diego Lopes in the Sphere on Mexican Independence Day. Just load up those Mexican Independence Day, because that fight just rules. Diego Lopes versus Edson.
If it's I don't like saying this. This is weird saying it out loud, but just last week, I can't get over the comparisons to Barboza and Alex Caceres, in the sense that they both have 30 fights. I know different weight classes for Barboza, so it's not the same exactly. But we were talking about Caceres being that kind of gatekeeper, not a bad way, but you have to beat Alex Caceres to be in the top 15, And Barboza's right out. Like, is Barboza in that same situation right now?
I think he's like
right now in his career.
He's a step above. That's like
he's outside the top 15. But where's we don't have Barboza in the top 15.
But everyone he's lost to are like top 10, top 7 people. He beats people 10 to 15 and loses to people like 8 and up.
So we're going top 10, even though he's not the top 15 right now.
It's because Edson Barboza is a tough out for anyone.
Well, again, I'm just.
I get what you're saying. I just
I just never really. I never put him in the same plane. But then I was kind of looking at where they are right now. It's like, oh dang, they're not.
Alex
that
Caceres
far apart.
is like, because Caceres has never been top 5.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a marquee win. Like Edson Barboza has some unbelievable names on his resume. Like if Edson Barboza had beaten Khabib, he was gonna fight for the title. Like that was basically a number 1 contender fight.
Biggest if ever, but I get you.
Yeah. Edson is also, here's what I love about Edson. He is so open about his losses. Like when I was on Fight Island and Edson Barboza was fighting, I can't even remember who he fought on that card. It was when we were in the bubble. And Mark Raimondi, who was still covering MMA at the time, was doing this piece on Khabib because he was fighting Gaethje at the end. And it was something similar to Sean's, like the night we fought so-and-so. So he's interviewing a bunch of Khabib's past opponents, and he couldn't, for whatever reason, he couldn't get in touch with Edson. So he asked me to ask Edson about Khabib, and I was like, I don't want to ask him. Like, he's about to fight in 2 days, and you want me to ask him about getting just dismantled and mauled for 15 minutes? And I was like, so you fought Khabib? And he was like, yeah, let's talk about it. And it was like super open about it. He's like, that dude killed me. And I was like, great, that was easy. Edson Barboza and his son is a big baseball fan for whatever reason.
That's awesome.
He quit BJJ and Muay Thai to play because every time I interview him, he knows I'm going to ask because he sees me and he goes, "You guys found my son again?" I go, "Always do," because he interviewed him. I interviewed him for the Milwaukee card, and he was really depressed because his son quit Muay Thai to do jiu-jitsu. And he's like, I want to do Muay Thai, but he wants to do jiu-jitsu. And he's like, whatever. And the next time I saw him, I was like, is he still doing jiu-jitsu? He's like, no, he quit. Now he plays soccer, which is cool. And the next time I saw him, he goes, you're still playing soccer? He goes, no, he quit. And he's been playing baseball. And then the next time I saw him, I goes, you playing baseball too? He goes, yeah, I think we finally found one for him to stick with. So he's like a big little leaguer. Like, I haven't talked to him in a minute, but he was always like, yeah, the last time I saw him, he said he felt his son was going to stick with baseball.
Yeah. Last thing on the comparison. Like, I think Caceres is very good. I think he's the Neil Magny of featherweight, but I think Barboza is like the Jeff Neal of featherweight, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, Caceres just outside the top 15, but if you beat Caceres, like, you are legitimately a guy who could be in the rankings. If you beat Jeff Neal, you're probably a top 10 fighter. You know what I mean? Like, that's like just the next step up. That's kind of how I compare these two guys. Very close, but just Barboza is just, the strength
like
of schedule.
Like a Rob Font type guy. You beat Rob Font, you're probably top 10, but Rob Font is still a tough out for everyone.
Hell yeah.
Or Josh Emmett.
Yep, that's a good one too.
Edson Barboza, Josh Emmett would be a fun fight. Have they fought?
Edson Barboza, Calvin Cater would be incredible.
I know. Oh, he's so fun.
There's so many good fights at featherweight.
Yeah. All right. Just pro fights info.
Perfect. Like Murphy, crazy story, a lot of bad luck, solid fighter. That said, Edson is one of my top 5 favorites of all time, and I wanted to win emphatically so I could see Edson versus Max for the BMF. Someday.
Not gonna happen, but
I would love to see it. I'd love to see it someday. Like, we got Max Zombie not that long ago, and that was just cool as hell to watch. Someday, I would like to see those two.
I'll
guys
be incredibly shocked if Edson can build back up his career to get a main event type of pay-per-view again.
I don't know if it would be I don't know, like, if Max most likely will fight for the title next, and if Max loses to Ilya, he can obviously go up to lightweight and mess around. I don't know if it's so much that Edson will build his resume up so much if Max somehow loses a couple in a row and they're like, we want you to headline UFC Fight Night, in Duluth, Iowa, or whatever it is. That'd be a weird main event in Iowa, but whatever.
Our weigh-in guru, Alexander K. Lee, has informed me Umar Sy weighed in for a second time and made the weight. Congratulations, Umar. Getting it done. Just battling through. Already won the first fight, won. Nicely done. Nicely done. Lost a pound and a half pretty friggin' fast.
Yeah. On that DC weight cut. Damn, weight cut.
Yeah, right.
All right.
I'll take a couple. Take a couple more.
I got more. Yeah.
How much are you guys looking forward to the UFC going dark next week?
I'm not looking forward to it. Like, it's a weird thing to say. I don't really mind. It's just I think the timing's really good. If this is 10 years ago, there's no way they'd be going dark, right? There's always a Memorial Day weekend card. Yeah.
I remember the day before I got married was the all heavyweight card, and there was just a lot of battering and violence going on in that card. But now they've sort of changed gears. But now we're leading into 302, and I kind of think going from this, giving it a week to build and breathe, by the time we get to 302, we are going to be ready to run through a friggin' wall to watch 302. So I actually feel like the timing's perfect. You get the long weekend to kind of relax and just mentally prepare yourself for it. And then by the time we get to June 1st, it's going to be, we're ready to go off the charts.
Would you rather have the UFC take dark weeks, the week before a pay-per-view or the week after a pay-per-view? Because I'm kind of surprised the week before, because usually they've never taken it before, because they just promote. You know, I'm just kind of
depends.
Curious.
After 300, we needed a week off. We definitely needed a week off after 300.
I think it depends. Depends too on a lot of it is logistics with the UFC. I think they're going dark before the Saudi Arabia card or the Abu Dhabi card because they got to get everything over there.
No,
right? Oh no.
Nope,
Is it the
not.
Manchester one then? They might be going dark sometime. Maybe it was last year. I can't remember. But a
Yeah,
lot of times when they have these
I think this is the last dark one
for a bit.
for a hot minute.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Maybe
Cool.
after. Well, no.
It's a couple
After
minutes.
303, there's a week off because that's when they're doing the Masvidal.
Oh yeah,
Diaz.
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
So that's
so they're taking a week off after the pay-per-view. Yeah.
for McGregor for International Fight Week. 300s International Fight Weeks, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to let it breathe so we could talk about it for a minute. Connor coming back, like that needs another week to breathe.
It is wild because I know, Casey, you're probably in the same boat as me, but for like 10 years of my life, I associated Memorial Day, 4th of July, and New Year's Eve with like UFC pay-per-views in Vegas.
Yep.
And now it's none of those things.
Especially the New Year's Eve one. The New Year's Eve one throws me off so much because I was like,
It's such a trip.
for about a decade straight, I spent every New Year's Eve in Vegas, and like I didn't enjoy it, but I was like, hey, this is the path I chose. But
It's it's the best thing to happen out of the ESPN deal.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Like,
the best
like
thing
I don't
out
really
of the
care
football.
about college football, but I'm like, yes, bowl games. I can no
Like,
MMA.
I associate like my UFC 160 was Memorial Day weekend. That was Kane and Bigfoot 2. That to me, in hindsight, is the most stacked card in the history of the UFC. Because at the time it wasn't, because you had Wonder Boy and Jeremy Stevens and George Roop on like the Facebook prelims, and then you had, I think it was Habib, Robert Whittaker, Max Holloway, Dennis Bermudez, all on the FX prelims, and then you had like Glover Teixeira, James Tahuna, Cowboy, KJ Noons, JDS, Mark Hunt. Like in hindsight, that is a crazy fight card.
Glad we got a KJ Noons reference in this show.
Yeah, buddy. That's TJ Grant's last ever fight when he knocked out
Oh.
I
Grant.
know. Damn.
Yeah, and Mike
TJ
Tyson
Grant-
was the guest of honor, and that's when JDS had that spinning roundhouse kick on Mark Hunt, and then
Oh, they hit him right in the top. Boop. Yeah, just clipped
and
him
Mark
right in the top of the head.
and,
Like,
Mike Tyson was convinced Dana to give the knockout of the night to TJ Grant over JDS.
And now look at where we're at 11
I know.
years later. Mike Tyson's getting ready to box freaking Jake Paul.
Yeah.
biggest
It-
boxing event
Mike
in the world-
Tyson-
in the
Mike
Eastern
Ty-
States. Yeah.
Mike Tyson, go box JDS now. It's not gonna. Let's just. I would love to see that, but it's way more dangerous than fighting
Putting
Jake
game bread.
Paul
Let's go.
with no gloves on. Jesus.
All right.
It's the best.
Got a couple more before we get out. Just
Anyone watching PFL or Bellator or whatever is on right now.
What is-
we are
it's like-
covering it.
It's Bellator Championship Series, right? God, that's such a mouthful.
Dude, we talked about this on BTL. I've never seen a promotion come into a year with like at least some sort of buzz, just lose it in 4 months. Zero buzz. Nobody cares. Like Cedric Doumbé and Jaleel Willis had like a fun ass face off yesterday. Like
Yeah.
nobody seemed to care. Like it's just, I
Mike, let me
cannot
ask you this.
cannot believe it.
Let me ask you: are these all dates that they already had lined up before the sale, or is this like PFL kind of
I think it's PFL kind of
Okay.
putting it all together.
like on the fly?
Yes.
Because
Because
I remember
most of their
when-
cards are international.
Yeah, that's true. Because I remember when Scott Coker took over Bellator, like the first couple months, he had to ride out all those scheduled Bjorn Rebney like weird fight cards that were booked, and then he got started to get to do what he did.
does PFL
Yeah, I
and
mean,
Bellator fight in the same cage? This is circle.
No.
Smart. Bellator's is a circle cage, but they're both using
It's the
big
same
circle
one.
cage. Same one. Yeah.
Same, the one you love so much, the old Bellator cage.
Yeah. I know.
Is Doom
It's
so
just-
Doom
it's-
Doumbé's first fight was in PFL technically, right? Like his
First
last
fight?
the last fight was PFL
Hockey
Europe
fight
or
was
whatever.
PFL.
And then
Yeah.
this is he the first fighter to fight in both PFL and Bellator in this PFL era?
That is.
There hasn't been that many.
Good question. I mean, Aspen Ladd will be both.
That's right. God, just make it one thing.
I just don't get if they're gonna look the same too. Like maybe if one's in a ring or something, like you have completely like different aesthetics or something. I don't know.
I know.
Or yeah, that's why I was asking. It's like, oh, is it? But no, they look the same.
It would be very funny if they had if the rings were different and they had them both out there, and then it was like a elimination chamber style, where it's like, and it's like you're fighting in Bellator ring.
Like Patchy Mix might be the best bantamweight in the world, and nobody gives a shit that he's fighting today. Yeah. Nobody cares,
dude.
Once Doumbé fights, once Doumbé's fight is over, like half that arena is gonna leave. They're just gonna be like, okay, we're done here, because we know like could something weird happen and Magomedov pull off some kind of an upset? Yeah, it'd be kind of wild, but I just don't expect it to happen. I think Patchy's just gonna run him over, but. Why put this fight in Paris? Why is Patchy Mix fighting in Paris against Magomedov? Oh man, just so many wrong decisions.
Like I'm one of those guys that have Patchy Mix as the #1 bantamweight in the world, and I might watch the fight if I remember. Like
it's just a rematch. It's a rematch, right?
Yeah, it's a rematch.
Like, Patchy annihilated him the last time they fought.
Yeah, it was relatively soon. It wasn't like I mean, there's a lot of other bantamweights. I don't know. I'd rather see the Stotts rematch just because Stotts is better. Yeah. You know, I don't know.
Give him Danny Sabatello. Who cares?
Just give him Danny Sab's just lost. That's right. He just lost to Magomed, but I get it. Yeah.
Just throw him in there.
It had to be something else. Yeah. Or yeah. Don't get it. And yeah. And I'm a big fan of Patchy and Cedric Doumbé, and yeah, I'm just. Hey, so it's on HBO Max. HBO Max, people. It's gonna be easy to watch though. Relatively.
He lost to Juan Archuleta, right? That's like his only loss.
Yeah, that was his first 5-round fight, and it was a super good fight, competitive. But yeah, he did lose
Make that fight. Make that fight.
I think Archuleta's officially a Rising fighter.
Yeah, I think he's exclusive with Rising now.
Yeah, he's I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but
I'd watch that fight again.
Yep, that was a very good fight.
PFL needs to sign José Aldo. They have to do it.
Oh my god!
They'll probably bungle it, but they need to sign this man.
They will bungle
it. Has
to
be signed.
Yeah. Jeez. All right, please. All right. 2 more super chats and then we're out of here.
Yep. Super steroids. Rose versus Hebus card was worse by far than this.
I don't think so.
I don't feel for that.
Rose
I didn't watch that card.
We're two top 10 fighters, so no, it's not worth.
I mean, we had Peyton Talbot versus Cameron Simon. People were very excited for that fight. Very excited. Yes, Carl Williams versus Justin Toffel was the co-main event. Edmund Shabazian versus AJ Dobson. Everyone was very excited for Yusuf Zalal fighting Billy Q. Like, that was a good fight. I mean, there wasn't much to that either. But there are a lot of, I mean, we did get Mick Parkin versus Mo Usman kicking off the card, and we kind of knew what that was going to be. We had a bite on that card. That was the infamous bite card.
Yeah, super steroids.
Elena Rosa is always fun. But on paper, this card's worse. This card is worse.
What?
For sure.
I was not working that fight card, and I don't remember why. That's how unmemorable that fight card was, though. Like, I know I was keeping up on my phone.
That was Peyton Talbot's coming out official coming out party.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. My mind is a blank.
What weight is Peyton Talbot again? I forget. Is he 50? Is he 55?
He is a 35er.
Oh, he's 35. Okay, cool. Ah, another 35er. That's
and he's fighting. And guess what that performance did for him? Now he's fighting on the Conor McGregor return card.
Oh, he is. Who's he fighting?
Sure is. He is fighting. I forget the name. Let me just double check. He is fighting Giannis Gimori.
All right, I gotta look up his page. I do not know that name. And our last super chat before we get out.
Giovanni, sick. Off topic. A while ago, I asked EKC to persuade my coworker Pete to grow his mustache back. I'm pleased to inform you that it is back in all of its glory. No thanks, in small part to you and his girlfriend.
He paid $10 to say that.
Gio, you just bought me one of these bad boys. Maybe tomorrow too. It's so funny. People like legitimately think these go to Dunkin' Donuts iced coffees every day. That is not true. But thank you all for the super chats. We appreciate it. Lots going on tomorrow, everybody. Look, Bellator is on. There are going to be some fights happening in a circular cage that very few will choose to watch. Yeah, I mean, there's some, not really. But tomorrow is what we're all about, all right? We got Fury Usyk, everything going on. Fury Usyk weigh-in's about to kick off, so we'll be covering that on MMAfighting.com. No People's pre-fight show tomorrow because we're going to have Fury Usyk coverage, Fury Usyk post-fight show. We'll have a UFC post-fight show. Just so much shit happening. Just stick with us. We'll let you know what's going on. So for Jose, for Casey, I am Mike Heck. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. We out.